It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week, all you're getting is just D23. It's the biggest recap episode I think we've had since San Diego Comic-Con. And I'm very excited to go over this, Mike. We've barely even talked about it so much because...
Oh my gosh, it's because I was there.
You were there.
I was boots on the ground.
Yeah, and I was the guy in the chair this time.
You're the guy in the chair. It's great, very helpful. I'm exhausted. Just for context, the convention center for D23 is the Anaheim Convention Center, which is like literally across the street from Disneyland. It's, you know, depending on traffic and where you are in LA, it's about an hour away. So luckily, I was pretty close, headed down there for the weekend, and it was intense. Like, I was trying to figure out ways to describe it because, as I've said on the podcast before, I'm a frequent visitor to San Diego Comic-Con, which is kind of like the mothership of like comic book nerd conventions. So it was my only comparison I really had. And the whole weekend I was trying to figure out, you know, how does this compare, like, size-wise? What's the scale? What's going on here? So in my brain, I got the vibes of just like, oh, D23 feels about like half the size of Comic-Con.
Okay.
So I went ahead and Googled it, and it's like less than a quarter. Like, and you would think like, oh, that sounds like a small convention. You know, why would you want to go out of your way to do something like that? And it has this multiplying effect on the inside. It's like when you're cooking down like a stew. It's like, yeah, you're technically getting like it's smaller than like a big pot of soup, right? But you're just like it's getting thick. It's turning into gravy. It'll coat any piece of bread you stick in it, you know?
All right, because I know you're shifted into soup mode, Mike. I know how you are. I know what's going on in your household over there. Soup is a great thing, but also, you know, when you talk about the San Diego Comic-Con, C2E2, New York Comic-Con, that is not just Marvel. That's not Disney. There's DC. There's other studios, right? I mean, Cartoon Network. Everything has an opportunity to be at a Comic-Con. Movies and TV shows and everything in between. But you're at a quarter of the space, but at D23, like, which is, you know, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, National Geographic, because that's also on the Disney Plus app that I never use, that tab. So like this is everything distilled down to this. So you're getting hyper eccentric fans to this, right? Like you're surrounded by not, I would say the cream of the crop, but the people who they are going out of their way to be at this thing.
Yeah, there was a documentary about Comic-Con that came out, I want to say like mid-teens of the 2000s. I don't even know how you even talk about that decade.
Is it the aughts?
I don't even know what the nomenclature... Like I don't know. I want to say like let's just say 2012, just for the heck of it. There was a documentary made about Comic-Con, and they decided to follow the convention by following just different types of people that do different things at the convention. And one of those people were like one of like the shoppers, you know, just there to get some of the exclusives, right? But then they also followed other people and how they like to visit the convention. I feel like the span of visitors at D23 is even narrower. You know, you have like the intense cosplayers, great cosplay this weekend for sure. You have just like the hardcore like niche Disney fans, and you also have like the shoppers, right? If you ever like fall into like a Disney World or Disneyland like algorithm on social media, eventually you'll come across those like crazy people that rush the park in the morning to like buy these exclusives just to flip them on eBay. Ooh, man. That is thick. That stew is thick here at D23. You get all of those exclusive people on the show floor trying to get their shopping done. But yeah, it sounds like I'm being slightly nihilistic, but it's just however you choose to experience it. If you are like within the Disney fandom, like that is the place to be. if you are averse to, I think what some people call the Disney adult, you would not want to be there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just all adults. There's lots of there's a lot of kids there. And like I saw this fun cosplay video of a little kid dressed as little Leia from Obi-Wan. And she had like her little droid friend or pal. And she was just hanging out with the Sanderson sisters, and they were all in all in character, like in like wonder of like this little device that she had. So you have like great like little moments like that. But I feel like that's the best way I can sum up D23 is just like take Comic-Con, pull everything out that's not Disney, and just like cook it on the stovetop for 48 hours.
Yeah,
and it's intense.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, going to any other convention is also intense, right? Like, I mean, whether it's great, you're having a good time. In retrospect, it's great, but like the 2 days after, you're like, oh my god, what have I done? You never wear the right shoes. You're always on concrete. I mean, you're like, you get back to the hotel when the con's over, and you're like, I need to go party some more with everybody while I'm here. So you never really rest.
And it's this FOMO feeling that never leaves when you're at a convention. I overheard two people. This was on Sunday. Or maybe it could have even have been on Saturday, just like the second day into the convention. But let's say second half of the convention, right? Later in the day, people are getting tired. I hear them on the escalator, and they just say, yeah, I know, but how often are we here? It's only every 2 years. So you could just clearly hear them trying to justify like just being on their feet and walking all day. But the advantage of the convention center being so close to Disneyland is I did get to pop in very briefly to Disney California Adventure. I didn't have a lot of time. And it was dark, and I hadn't been to Disney California Adventure since 2019, so pre-Avengers Campus. So it's dark, I'm limited on time, so I run directly to Avengers Campus just so I can kind of take it in a little bit. Very disoriented because there's no sunlight. I hadn't been over to that corner in the park for a while. But from what I saw, it was pretty cool. I walk in, you kind of get that first look at like the Quinjet and like I don't know if it's like the Avengers warehouse. I think we're going to talk about that specific location a little bit later in the podcast with an announcement that was at one of their parks panels. But like I'm looking up and I turn a corner and I like literally run into like Thor and Loki, like the official like walk around characters. And I'm just like, oh geez, what's going on? And then I needed to like find a ride because I only had so much time. So I popped into the single rider line for the Spider-Man ride. Yes. And this is, I don't know exactly how you explain, like what type of ride is this? Would it be like a 3D track ride or something like that? Yeah,
because to me it's a lot like Toy Story Mania, right? And the Buzz Lightyear thing where you're on a track and you're interacting with screens. Correct? So
yeah, and I would say the ride lives up to the wait that I was in line, which was very, very short. Yeah. Hopped in the single rider line. I was in the ride in, I think less than like 5 to 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And, you're in this little cart, and it kind of shuttles you between maybe like 4 or 5 different screens. And they're using like really smart like artificial intelligence and cameras to like track your hands. And then it represents like a web shot on the screen that you're looking at. So by the second screen, I was getting a lot better at it. I was shooting all these fun little spider bots. So your hands like get pretty tired by the end of it too, and you kind of work out like your own little motions of the best way they do it. But overall, it was pretty fun. I liked it. If you're ever at Disney California Adventure, or if this ride ever makes it east of the Mississippi to Florida, I would say hop on it if you got a short way, but like don't dedicate your entire day just to this ride.
I love the Toy Story Mania and the Buzz Lightyear rides, right? Like those are super fun. Mm-hmm. What actually, it's funny you mentioned this because I've actually been trying to play. There's a Wii version of Toy Story Mania where they take that ride and let you do it with the light guns or the Wii modes. And I'm like, that would be an awesome way to reintroduce like kind of motion controls back into home consoles is by releasing a game like that. Kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I love them, but like that's not like I'm gonna wait in line 5 hours to get into it. So, but they also have. Mind you, this is a ride I have a little bit of an issue with because you can buy up physical parts to upgrade your in-game pieces. So this is a pay-to-win kind of scenario, even though you don't get anything if you win. other than to take home the tech with you, the shooters and the web swingers.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody in my cart that had any sort of buffs, if you will.
Yeah, I would have been. I know who I am. I know what I am. I totally would have got one. But
and before I forget, this was kind of during the Halloween spooky season, and they had a zombie Captain America, which I hear is not often at the park. So that was pretty cool. If you find me on Instagram, I put a video up there. But also just Google like zombie Captain America Disneyland. I'm sure you'll find some videos. It's pretty cool.
It looked good. So let's get into this. The first two bits here are not necessarily D23 related, but it is kind of adjacent, simply because that's all popping up here. So we're going to talk first about Marvel Studios in general. They have a quote-unquote Black Widow room in their office there in California, Mike, that is cut off from the outside, and they don't even let external people, like cleaning companies, come into this room. Like, they do it all themselves. But this is where...
That's where that whiteboard is. I swear to God.
So Kevin Feige makes big decisions, and important talks are held here. And apparently, the writers, script writers, also come in and do some of the workshopping in this room for the movies with them as well.
I you say Black Widow room, and it makes total sense. You know, spy, espionage, all that stuff. But also, my brain just latches onto the colors, right? Like it's an all black room. They painted the windows black. There's like a red trim. It feels like you're walking into some sort of like imperial cellar or something like that.
And then right next to it, I believe one of the writers, I believe it might have been for the Eternals or something else, said they have a cereal bar, like an unlimited cereal bar there. So like imagine this black and red room and then just a cereal bar like sitting next to it. Like,
yeah,
can you do that?
It makes you wonder: do you get different results if different cereals are stocked in that room? Right? You know. Like, oh, the after credit scene in this movie could have been a little bit different, but we ran out of Fruit Loops, you know?
I think the after credit scenes are something like posted like much, much later. But yeah, like, can you just imagine like there's someone's job is to stock this cereal, and it's not an outside agency, obviously. Someone internally, like Monday morning at like 9 a.m. Stock cereal, ask Kevin what he wants for the week, kind of thing. Do you think they got like you think he's the 2% or a skim kind of guy on that cereal?
Man, Southern California, Hollywood, it's going to be almond milk or oat milk, probably.
Milk. Oh, yeah.
Nobody drinks from the cow out here anymore.
Well, okay. Well, that's fine. But yeah, so Marvel has that. Secondly is some concept art here, Mike. You can check all these things in our show notes for a cut War Machine fight from Infinity War. Now, this is the scene early on in Infinity War where Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon show up and fight Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive when they're trying to get trying to take down Vision with Wanda, right? So War Machine was supposed to be there as part of it, and using like 3D VR technology to control his suit remotely from his office here, or I guess building facility wherever he is, and it was supposed to like kind of show like, oh, this is how the VR is around him. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the Battle of Wakanda. But he says Edinburgh, which was obviously that's London, right? Like Edinburgh is London, not Wakanda.
I mean, it almost either way to me it feels like it just wasn't necessarily necessary, right? You know,
Yeah.
I feel like every movie, especially these movies, like you dream really, really, really big, right? You want to put in as much as possible, and then you start trimming back as either to make the story a little bit more coherent, or hell, maybe even to save money on VFX, right? And the last time we all saw Rhodey, he got absolutely wrecked. So I don't think anyone was surprised when he wasn't around, right? I mean, yeah, we got the little post-credit scene where he was, trying to learn to walk again, but I mean that he got rocked, man.
Well,
I wasn't surprised that he wasn't around.
Well, you're thinking Civil War, right?
Yes.
So this is Infinity War. But I think the thing is here is he wasn't with the Avengers at the start of it. I think this is like maybe very, very early on, because he was technically with the government, remember? Like, because they show up at his place random, like unannounced later. They're like, "We need your help," and he's like, Ross was like, "Arrest these people," and he's like, "Oh, I lost connection," and cut him off. So I think, again, like you said, the stories, the scripts, even Bruce Banner was supposed to be there in the Hulkbuster. You kind of see it behind him in the art. So they really tooled the script a bunch of times. It sounds like to get very honed in on the story we got. And honestly, Infinity War is still fantastic after all this time. So, Yeah, so you can check that out. I always love the concept arts. We like to show that stuff. But let's go ahead and get that out of the way. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this show, Mike. This is a full course meal. Buckle up, buckaroos. D23, the convention dedicated to Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, Pixar, and more. Now, we are not going to cover everything. There was a lot of stuff announced here, Mike, right? Like things that Disney's come out with that doesn't really affect the show directly, but we may cover them later down the road, like the Little Mermaid trailer, all the Pixar's and Disney's animated movies they announced that really aren't superhero related. So we kind of we're just streamlining this to the stuff that we got and what we know to get you guys through this. So first and foremost, on Thursday, Disney Plus Day, Thor: Love and Thunder release on Disney Plus. So people got to go dive back into that. The IMAX Enhanced version is on there as well. Do you know how to get to that version, Mike? If I said, hey, watch the IMAX version on your Disney Plus app?
I got to imagine it's similar when I want to watch The Simpsons in 4:3 instead of widescreen.
Yes.
Right? Probably somewhere in the menus.
Yeah, you select on it, go down, choose, I think it's like, I think it might say versions or something else. Like, it's literally right below the play button. You just go sideways, left to right, and it's there. So, pretty easy to get to that. The timeline, I sent this to you as well, on Disney Plus, has updated to show that Thor is the latest movie in the timeline after the She-Hulk series. So, very interested in seeing how some of these other shows play into that. So, that was pretty cool. And also, again, unrelated, but Pinocchio with Tom Hanks is now on Disney Plus. So, if you want to watch that, you can. That's your PSA.
Yeah, I think Disney might want to reconsider exactly what they want Disney Plus Day to be, right? The last Disney Plus Day. Now, maybe not the most coherent way to announce things with a very long Twitter thread that you just had to mindlessly scroll through to get your news, right? So the delivery could change, but we got honest to God, really exciting announcements, right? This Disney Plus Day was what's happening here? It was in my perspective, absolutely completely overshadowed by the convention just the day later.
And I think Disney Plus Day last year was actually on the birthday of Disney Plus, right? They're normally on the birthday, which is not September. It's closer to October, November. So really curious why they moved it around. Maybe it was to hopefully provide that synergy with these, but honestly, like you said, it kind of just fell flat. That's it. That's all we got that I know of, and the other announcements are gonna take place here. So let's jump into just real quick casting announcements for some Star Wars. Star Wars, I think, was the second thing. Marvel Games was first, but we have that below with Marvel. So we'll jump into Star Wars here. The Acolyte, the upcoming High Republic era of Star Wars show is coming, and they've cast Lee Jung-Jae, who is the main actor in Squid Games, as one of the leading characters.
Is his hair gonna be red, or is that just for Squid Games?
Was his hair red?
Yeah, at the very, very end.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I've only seen him all the stuff shows him from the first episode and then the second, all the side by sides. I don't know. Maybe I believe he will probably either be a Jedi or a Sith. The main characters are going to be two young girls who are sisters, so I believe he's going to be a leader of one side or the other. I would probably lean more into the Sith character since this is going to be a Sith focused show rather than a Jedi focused. So it'd be nice to see him kind of whip out some of that evilness, right? And be a bad Force user, if you will.
Yeah, either way, it's awesome because Squid Game, I think one of the revelations that came out of that show's success is that nobody really made a lot of money off of it because Netflix kind of got it on the cheap. Obviously, they'll recoup their losses on subsequent seasons because it's one of the biggest shows of all time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad this person's out there getting that Disney money, right? And I'm sure they'll be getting some more Netflix money as well after that. So
action figure money. Figure money.
Yeah. Put that on the poster. They'll be like, "Hey, that's the Squid Game guy. I'm gonna get Disney Plus to watch that."
And I think we talk about Star Wars has no movies coming out right now, none that we know about. Anything? The only one that was announced was that the flying one, the airplane or the spaceship one. Was it Rogue Squadron that has really gone nowhere with Patty Jenkins?
Yeah, and then we get updates occasionally from like some sort of junket where Ryan Johnson's like,
Yeah.
"No, I still want to make these."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Well, his are technically, I guess, still on, but like his never had a release date, and Patty Jenkins did. So the whole point of this is Star Wars has a lot riding on its Disney Plus properties, and we're going to talk about some of this. So I think this is a really positive step for Star Wars casting this actor. The other thing coming up here, the third technical Disney Plus exclusive, I'm not counting animated live action shows coming, is Andor later this month, September 21st, for a 3-episode premiere. Looks like it'll be in 2 weeks. We can talk about that. We have an official trailer release, very similar to the what was that, the teaser we covered a couple weeks ago. Again, this showcases a huge cast of characters other than just Cassian Andor. I do love, I forget his name, but he's been in all the Thor movies except the recent one, the Professor.
Selvig, right?
Yeah, Eric Selvig. His kids are one of his kids is the It guy, whatever. But he looks to be a really fun actor in this. But what I keep noticing when I watch this is very similar to the new House of the Dragons, is that people's haircuts and beards like are changing like shot to shot in this, right? Like, so I know this takes place across a year, but like, boy, am I excited to see how much this changes, because like they look like different people from shot to shot. So I'm very excited to kind of see this ebb and flow through a timeline rather than just like, oh, this takes place over like a weekend kind of show.
Yeah. This trailer for me personally, I feel like it had more Andor in it itself. Very similar to the last trailer, just throwing some more clips in VO from Cassian. Funny thing though is I had to, while I was hunting down this trailer, youtube.com/Star Wars, which is eventually where I found it, but within the same row of videos, there's one that says like, it's Diego Luna, is that his name?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, it's like Diego Luna explains Star Wars timeline or something like that. And it was just like this little sizzle video they made of like a timeline with like some screenshots of like, oh, this is when the Death Star was made, this is when it destroyed this planet, this is where Rogue One takes place, this is where Andor takes place. And it's just like we're starting to get to that point, right, where they feel the need that this is getting very confusing for people, right? I'm even a Star Wars fan, and honestly, I can't come up with on the spot exactly where these things take place at any given time. I really have to sit back and think about it. Okay, I know that this happens before Rogue One, and I know Rogue One happens just before the original Star Wars trilogy. But then in my head, I have to go, okay, so, but how much time, like, how long ago was the prequels? And then I always get confused of like, okay, Mando is after it. So it's getting very confusing, and they're building up kind of like two different threads on two kind of different sides of this original trilogy. So I'm expecting more timeline explainers in the future, and I'm going to need them.
And that's fine. I think what I don't think we'll get is the prequel, or between the prequel trilogy and the original. I think that might die off after Andor, honestly, for live action. But I do think the one after Mando is going to be huge. We'll talk about some of that here in a little bit. But honestly, I mean, like I said, I want to see this show and just get it out of the way so I can base my opinions on that. Because like we talked about, we feel better after watching some of the stuff where it's not just watching Cassian Andor the whole time. It is good to know that it is 2 seasons. One season is 1 year time frame, and the second season is like 5 years time frame. So like it's going to end where it needs to end, into Rogue One, rather than us waiting and trying to like, how are they going to fit 5 seasons into this? We just know that there's a start and an ending, and I think that's good on them for actually doing that for a show. Moving into the next animated property, Tales of the Jedi, Mike, and they gave us our first trailer for this. They teased it back at Star Wars convention earlier this year, but we finally got to see it here. And what do you think of that?
There's a Yoda with hair.
Well, that's
the only
Yaddle.
thing
That's Yaddle.
That's the only. It's like the only thing I can like really remember from that. Like I went back in the trailer, and I was like, okay, where was it? And I'm like, framing around, and I was just like, I just couldn't not get the wig like just out of. It's just so funny. Like it's just like I wish they would give us a name for whatever Yoda is. Right? You know,
species.
We're starting to expand this kind of like species, and I would love a name because now I all I want to know is how they grow hair, right?
Yeah.
When they have hair, does that mean they're younger? Is that middle aged? Is there like a subsect of the species that maybe live on a different planet that have like a toupee? It's just so funny.
Yaddle is in episode 1. If you go back and watch episode 1, she's a staple character, so she's not new for this show, thankfully. But people didn't see her in episodes 2 or 3, so I think we're going to figure out why she's not around from the show. Now, watching this trailer, it seems like there's 6 episodes in this whole show, this limited series. 3 of them are Ahsoka as a child training with Anakin, and then post leaving the Jedi Order, so we see her older, so we have 3 of those. The other 3 I only see is Count Dooku, right? So are we getting 3 Count Dooku episodes? I couldn't make heads or tails of it, and couldn't figure it out. So it looks like it kind of is. So we're following a young Count Dooku as he goes to the dark side.
Yeah, maybe this is kind of a bit of a strategical way. Obviously it seems like Filoni is involved in this. Not necessarily saying he's directing these, right? But, I'm sure he's an EP on this, giving direction. And I'm sure tapping somebody that he trusts to make these because this is really his world, this animated world.
Yep.
And my guess is like, let's do kind of like a mini animated movie, right? And then it just probably makes more sense to chop it up into episodes.
Yeah, well, and if you watch a lot of the Clone Wars, a lot of those became 3-part stories, right? Two episodes or 3 episodes. So he's got that. And I did look it up. Filoni did did work on this series while working on The Mandalorian. So
it's kind of like that. It's like that throwback Justice League vibes. Like the Justice League animated series always had those like 3-episode, 4-episode story arcs, and those were great.
Yeah. So I did look at it. Is 3 points is Ahsoka, and the other are Count Dooku. So apparently it is just those 2 characters, which makes me believe if this is successful, they could lead into more characters down the road. Ahsoka, I get because they're coming to her show, right? She has a live action show. But Dooku, I'm interested in because we know his ending. We know how he ended up, beheaded literally in episode 3. But one of the cool things is, they are bringing back a lot of the voice cast from the animated show. But also Liam Neeson is coming back as Qui-Gon Jinn again, Mike. So when he came in for that Obi-Wan episode, they must have put a microphone up to his face like, "Hey, can you say some lines real fast for us? We got a show to make."
Oh man, if we want to get a dystopian, it's probably not even lines for the show. It's like read this 3 paragraphs and we'll virtualize your voice and you won't have to come back in and we'll just send you a check.
Yeah. So that's coming out October. We have a release date October 26th, 2021. 2022. Sorry, this year I wrote that wrong. So that will be here within a little over a month. So it'll be kind of going. It looks like coinciding with Andor. Like they'll kind of be living side by side there for a couple weeks. So good for that. Bad Batch, we did not get another trailer for season 2. However, we did get the release date as January 4th. So once all this other Star Wars stuff wraps up, Bad Batch will drop on January 4th, and it's got a 16-episode season 2, which means that will actually run and coincide with another live-action Star Wars project, Mandalorian Season 3, Mike, which we got a new trailer. Or I guess the first trailer. We saw the leaked one before, but this is the first official trailer for Season 3.
Yeah, I was confused, too. I was like, wait, didn't we see something? I was like, oh, wait, no, that was at a low angle with a blurry screen.
Yeah, it's like some stuff. A lot of it's the same here. So it looks like, since I don't have much on Bad Batch, let's jump into Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. We get to see the planet of Mandalore. It looks like it's been ravaged since the battle, the Siege of Mandalore from the Clone Wars. It looks like the little Babu Freak characters from, was it, I guess, the last, or the Skywalker, Return of Skywalker, whatever the last one is.
Yeah, newest trilogy.
Yes. And then it sounds like there's some new music at the end of this. It sounds like it wasn't the standard Mandalorian theme song. It was like maybe some small child chants a little bit here at the end of the trailer. So,
I didn't catch any new music.
Yeah.
But the vibe on this trailer was great. It seems like... Yeah. I know epic is a word that's kind of lost all meaning, especially growing up as a millennial. right? But it felt very epic in the traditional sense of the word. There was like that shock troop shot of all of those armored clad people dropping.
The Mandalorians with the jetpacks.
Maybe like a drop ship or something. I don't know where they were coming from, but that looked really awesome. I love the line of, I don't know exactly who said it, but your cult like ruined this planet or something like that.
That is
I think that's a fun story thread to pull on, of just like, I mean, like he's a warrior and everything, but I personally, as an earthling, as a human being, I think it's kind of crazy that somebody wouldn't be allowed to take their helmet off. Yeah. So I think even like exploring kind of like those cultish undertones, I think is very interesting.
Well, it's going to explain the different Mandalorians, right? There's the ones we see who take their helmet off. There are the ones who don't, and we never really knew about the ones who didn't.
They just wear normal clothes, you know.
And, you're very business casual attire when they're getting down to it. But this seems, again, I think epic in scope, but I think it feels more reeled in than the last season. Nothing against the last season, but like they're like the Mandalorian, he has Grogu with him again. They did that part in the Boba Fett show, so he's got Grogu. They're like, we need to figure out what the Mandalorian is and what his mark on this legacy is going to be. We didn't see any of Moff Gideon, even though we know Giancarlo is going to be back in it. We didn't see the Darksaber, even though we know that's a huge point of this. So very excited to see that. And I made out here of a lot more space battles in his new Naboo ship that he made.
And if you're anywhere near Galaxy's Edge, the Mandalorian's going to be coming to Disneyland, I believe soon, and has like a little like sling that the character wears that has like a animatronic like Grogu in it. Like,
nice.
I think he can like the character actor can like cover it with like a piece of cloth and like unveil it and stuff. So that's pretty cool too. Yeah,
that would be cool. So this is coming February 2023, Mike. We are around the corner from the Star Wars series that really kicked off the rejuvenation of the franchise. One of the most exciting things, we don't have a lot to go here, but they did show some footage for this is the Ahsoka show. They cast actor Iman Esfandi, who was in the movie King Richard, as Ezra Bridger, the guy from Aladdin. Did not get the role. But we do get we have a screenshot someone took from it that shows Rosario Dawson back as Ahsoka with one of her white bladed lightsabers. I don't know, nothing ever looked wrong with her, so everything looks fine. Again, I'm gonna go and say the newer lightsabers look too clean on the edges, right? They look like a tube with light in them. For especially in this shot, but hopefully when we see them in motion, it'll be better. So
yeah, I just looked up the person they're casting as Ezra, and man, uncanny resemblance.
Yeah,
this is very good. This is very good. It's almost like you think it's the other way around, right? This was a live action character that they animated. So, man, good. That's good news, I would say, for Ezra fans.
Yeah. So he'll be coming back from the Rebel show in that.
Someone's gotta redeem the name Ezra this calendar year, right?
Yeah, right. Well, this will probably be next year, but yeah, it'll be. We don't know when the show's coming out, but yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Skeleton Crew, the upcoming show that took director John Watts away from Fantastic Four into Star Wars. The filming has apparently been underway for a couple of weeks, and then we get our first look at Jude Law in the show here included. And what I love about this, we don't see the kids he's with. They didn't announce any of the crew with him. But I do love the robotic little eyes from Jabba's palace that we see. So obviously he's at a door, right? We can tell Jude Law's character's at a door here. And this looks like a ragtag team of people behind him. So
it looks like, the characters in the background, I'm guessing the younger cast, just based on the height of maybe one of the characters. At least two of them seem to be human.
Yeah.
Would you say that one over his other shoulder looks like it could be like
on the right? He looks like he's got those things off the back of his head, like the tendril looking things.
Yeah, and it looks like maybe even a giant trunk. It makes me think of that blue elephant that plays like the keyboard in the cantina.
Yeah, Max Rebo. He's got a gig, man. He's got a gig. He was
Oh,
alive
shit.
in the
Maybe.
in the Boba Fett show, but
Wait, okay. When does this show take place? When is this supposed to take place?
that's a great question. I'm gonna look this
See?
up now because I don't.
Because all I'm trying to think is I'm trying to do Max Rebo headcanon. Maybe is this a younger Max Rebo?
No, this
before
is
he
after
retires?
the Battle of Yavin. So this is in the or Mandalorian era of this.
Okay, so could this be like Max Rebo's like brother or younger?
It's probably
brother
not
or
Max
something? I
Rebo
don't
at all,
know.
but could
No,
be a
Chris,
creature at the
every
same
blue
time.
elephant is every blue elephant has to be related.
As much as I love Max Rebo, Mike, you know this. But we don't know much about. We don't even know who the kids are with him. We just know that John Watts is directing it and Jude Law is acting in it. So, I expect. Is there any other event this year that would give us any information, Mike, or is this going to be one of those things they just pull out of their ass at the middle of a dead week?
I feel like maybe the only big synergy moment we might see with Disney is Avatar coming out. I could see them maybe wanting.
They
to
got blue
bolt
elephants.
on a new. I could see them maybe bolt on like a blue. God damn it! A new trailer, to play in front of Avatar. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head.
They still got an Ahsoka trailer shelf. So I don't know, but it's supposed to come out 2023. But we'll get more of this. But Jude Law again, he's rocking every property he can, from Marvel to Star Wars to Harry Potter. He's just getting in all of them. So you can check out that photo in our show notes. So yeah, that's it for Star Wars. Star Wars is kind of light, man. They knew that we want to see Tales of the Jedi. They knew we want to see The Mandalorian, but that's really about it, right? Like this is kind of like we're just kind of in this waiting period for next year, really, for a lot of these shows that have been announced. So, yeah. So let's shift gears. We're gonna go into Marvel games for a minute, Mike, if you don't care. Just we're gonna dabble here. We get our first look. We have our first teaser trailer for Project Marvels, and this is a Skydance new media, which is Mike's like Skydance. They don't make games. Well, they do now under the new media banner. That is a game set in World War II that has 4 playable heroes with Steve Rogers, Captain America, Azuri, T'Challa's grandfather, and the World War II Black Panther, Gabriel Jones, a U.S. soldier and a member of the Howling Commandos, and Nanali, a leader of the Wakandan spy network. So this seems to be, I don't think it'll be 4-player. I think it will be a story that swaps between all 4 characters as it kind of goes through this thing. We didn't get any gameplay trailer, but the Paris feel, the world felt pretty good, Mike, for a teaser trailer, right? Even though we know it's not gameplay, not representative of the final product, but I did like the Paris vibe of this, the Hydra symbols, the music kind of going on. I really, as a video gamer, I'm really excited for this. What was your take on this?
I just thought it was a fun reminder that the Black Panther mantle has been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You just forget about it, right? That suit has just been protecting Wakanda for, gosh, who knows how long, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that interpretation, right? As Wakanda has advanced over the years, is the suit maybe going to be maybe slightly more rugged or prototypey, maybe back in the 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of cool to see it a little bit more mechanical. But yeah, it was a cool shot when you see the Captain America shield and then you see the claw marks over the top of it. So that'll be fun. And also you can imagine what it's like to play as Captain America in a video game, right? It's not too complicated to think he's like a brawler.
There is a Captain America game based on the first movie set in World War II, and it plays just like the Arkham games, which was really fun. It was a really good game. So yeah, 100% with that.
But this will probably be our first time to really sink our claws, pun intended, into what could be single player, Black Panther be like. That could be really rad.
Yeah, and this is what's going to be great for you because I know, it's huge. Amy Hennig was the writer for Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, Mike. So, if you want story, you're going to get a story in a game. That's got a huge person coming in to add some weight to this, if you will.
And this is kind of fun too. Now that we're in the multiversal landscape, right? You know, Marvel has this decision that they can always make of, if this game ever gets popular enough, right? We can fold this into the movies in some sort of like cataclysmic multiversal event, right? You know, so that could be kind of fun. It's not saying that it's likely to happen, but it's just cool that there's always a possibility, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I like the screenshot of it. I just wish we had more details of when it's going to come out. But, you know, video games, they always come out. But this, you know, with someone who's going to write a good story, that's what we want in a game, right? Something really good. So, yeah, very, very excited to check this out when we get some gameplay. Probably, I guess, E3 next year, maybe the Video Game Awards in December, but I doubt it. The other game was kind of a weird announcement for me, and it's got me in some mixed feelings, Mike. Marvel's World of Heroes was announced, and it's an AR game from Niantic, which makes Pokemon Go, and you know I've been playing it since it came out, 6 years ago, and this is a weird Marvel game. We got a little teaser of it, and you said it not actual gameplay. Yeah, it's not. This is like the biggest tease I've ever seen from a game without actually giving us what's kind of going on, and that's like Niantic's MO. But to me, what the first thing I actually saw was one of the characters is Cyclops, so they're actually leaning into their X-Men characters a little bit in this game, rather than relying on like the Marvel universe ones as much, right? So there's Doctor Strange, Thor, and Cyclops, and I have no idea what this game's going to be or play.
I mean, if I had to guess based off the sizzle, I think the tagline was like, everyone can be heroes or something like that, and then you kind of get the idea of like, oh, you walk into a park, hold your phone up, and I don't know, maybe there's like a Hydra agent on the other end, and then you tap the screen to throw some like virtual punches, and then you probably get some sort of like token or EXP. That would be my guess. But Pokemon Go's cool because you get to see Pokemon. We like to look at Pokemon, right? I don't want to look at just a faceless mob all around the world. It would just be more. So maybe it's like a mixture of just like, oh, if you want to get new powers, you got to go find Cap. Team
ups would be cool. Like being able to interact with somebody else would be better, right? Because you're teaming up as a hero. That's what they do in the comics and movies. The other thing with that is they had a Harry Potter game for a while too, and it wasn't a catching game. It was like kind of like you said, a battling kind of game over and over again. But like, I want to see the screen of the phone. I don't want to see what they imagine people looking like playing this. Like, I want to know what it is before I commit to it. But Niantic, their company, Pokemon Go makes them billions of dollars every year, so they've got the funds to, put something out there if they really want to. But I did not expect this announcement to hit at all. So, very, very, like I said, mixed feelings as a huge Pokemon Go fan and a Marvel fan, and seeing how this kind of comes to life, whether that'll work for me or not. Now let's get to the MCU. The MCU proper. We got at least a page or more of this to go through. And the first is the oft-rumored, now confirmed Werewolf by Night special, Mike. It is... the trailer came out. It is very much a black and white B-movie style trailer that shows us the special, which I think is like what Marvel's going to call their new one-shots, is going to be very... I guess, what's that grindhouse feeling, if you will, when watching? Yeah,
this is wild. I absolutely love this trailer, right? Yeah. I feel like Marvel even just 2 or 3 years ago, even though, funnily enough, they probably started development on this 2 or 3 years ago, right? Wouldn't have released something like this. This is the advantage of them having like a streaming platform where they can kind of release, kind of offshoot little things like this. It's fun. It's just weird. It just feels like somebody up the ladder just like trusts a filmmaker, and then also now trusts the audience. It's like when you have the brand name Marvel, you can just get away with a lot more now.
So,
right?
Funny thing, this isn't a filmmaker. This is Michael Giacchino, who is a composer. This is his first like video project or movie project.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So he's got enough, I guess, faith built at Disney/Marvel to give him this, and it doesn't. I'm not going to hold that against him. I think people can be, skilled in multiple things if given the opportunity and crew around them. So this looks really, crazy, little fun, like little cheesy. do you think the whole movie's gonna be, or special is gonna be in black and white, or do you think it'll be in color?
Yeah, I don't know. It does make you wonder what they're gonna do here. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about like Werewolf by Night and where else they might pop up here, right? But it does make you wonder, like, oh, is this more of like just a fun gimmicky thing where at the very end we'll pull out and this is just a late night movie that Wong is watching on his couch, while he's drinking his gin fizzes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or is this, or is this going to be like real like canon, right? And we're just being presented it in a more like unique way, just kind of for the spooky season that it is.
Yeah.
But it seems like. Is the person just called Werewolf by Night? Do they have like a name? Is their name like Josh or something that is the titular werewolf? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a character. Let me see. There was like 4 or 5 of them in the comic books. His name is Jack Russell.
Oh, that was close. I mean, I just threw out Josh. I didn't know it was going to be a J name.
yeah, it's Jack Russell, and then and his alter ego is Werewolf by Night. So yes, that's his name in the thing. I think the big thing for me is the tiniest, like 3 or 4 frames is Man-Thing. Mike, Man-Thing is back in the MCU after talking about like a couple weeks ago, the 2005 version on Tubi. You kind of get to see him. I would love to see Man-Thing in color, so that's kind of why I hope this is not black and white the whole time. But I would totally get it.
They could do maybe a stylistic thing, right, where if they're really trying to be like avant-garde and creative, like a strike of lightning in the sky that illuminates a scene and all of a sudden it's all color, kind of feel like Sin City or like the Spirit vibe, something like that. I wonder if this is also strategic, right? Because we also have Agatha House of Harkness coming up, which I don't know if that is specifically supposed to be all prequel. It seems like it'll definitely deal with her origin in some way, right?
Yeah.
Is this a way for them to be like, okay, before Tony Stark, revealed that he was a superhero and changed the world forever, we had this stuff happening in the past, in the darkness that nobody knew about. We had witches, we had werewolves. I still don't know how they're explaining vampires just yet. Well, I'm sure they'll get around to it some way, right? But I think maybe this is their strategy, is kind of what it's starting to feel like.
Yeah, and I've included the synopsis here, and one of the other things is it says they gather at the foreboding Bloodstone Temple following the death of the leader, which kind of confirms, I believe, the woman, not the older woman, but the younger lady in this, is Elsa Bloodstone, who is known to be a monster hunter in the comic books as well. So this is very interesting. It looks like they're hunting a monster, but is the monster the werewolf, or are they all hunting for Man-Thing along the way? Like, what is the purpose? It seems fun. It seems like, one of those murder mysteries. Like, I've gathered you all here today to come hunt something. Whoever, lives is the winner kind of deal. But I don't know. It even does like the film burning at the end kind of thing, giving that extra grindhouse feel. But what the best part of this is coming October 7th. We have less than a month to watch this, man. So, like, all these questions are just they're going to be answered very, very quickly. Yeah. And this is wild that they just kept it secret, quote unquote secret, for so long.
I'd love to get a runtime notice at some point too. It would be great if it was like a full feature. I would love that so much, but
I'm thinking like an hour.
I think I'd still be happy.
Yeah, I'm thinking like an hour as well. But also, is this the new way one-shots are going to work? If Marvel wants to tell a story, it can be multiversal. I don't think those are the TVA people with them, but I would not be surprised if those are the TVA people in this as well. Did you notice that? The people with the batons and like the riot gear?
Oh, maybe. I should go back and rewatch this trailer. It's a lot to take in.
It's very quick. A lot of quick shots. I think there might be TVA in this too, tying this into Loki and possibly making these multiversal characters. The other part is Man-Thing in the comic books is a nexus creature like Agatha, a singular point in multiple universes. So maybe it could be another universe, or it could lead into the MCU proper with Man-Thing. So we are less than a month away. I just can't believe less than a month on a big Marvel thing like this. And I think the Marvel special presentations is how the Guardians holiday special is going to go. But I would love to see more like this, right? Just really throw some fun stuff at the wall and see what sticks along the way. So you've not watched. We're gonna shift gears. You've not watched this because you did watch. We've watched She-Hulk this week. We're probably not gonna cover it because it's gonna be a long episode. But the mid-season sneak peek came out after this, episode 4. There are in fact 9 episodes. But the biggest thing is they are just teasing Daredevil, right? They're like, Daredevil's coming. We've also not seen the Frogman dude yet, or anything to do with Titania. So. A lot more left in the show. I think we did we talk about like on Wednesday or Thursday? We're having a good time with this. Like, this is fun. I really enjoyed Madison this week as a character. 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not what you think.
Exactly. No, we won't spoil it if you haven't watched it yet, but it's great. Having a great time. Block out all those haters. They're dumb, and they're the same people that don't like the Little Mermaid's black either. So just block them out and keep having a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time. So recommend She-Hulk wholeheartedly. Secret Invasion. Got a trailer finally for Secret Invasion. I've said this multiple times. This is probably one of my favorite comic books. I'm very excited for this show coming up here, and this trailer just made me that much more excited. I've got to say, really nailing the espionage spy thriller tone while keeping it kind of like flipping things on its head a little bit, right? Because we get to see Nick Fury coming down. We get to see Talos return, the Skrull leader from Captain Marvel. Actor Kingsley Ben-Adir, who is the villain in this, and he has a bunch of bodyguards who are Skrulls that turn into him apparently. So. What do you think? What do you think of this?
The trailer was intense, right? You definitely get like spy thriller vibes from it. It kind of felt reminiscent to Winter Soldier in a way, where I felt like the biggest thing that you saw was like a real like fiery explosion. And usually I feel like when we're watching these trailers, they're like laser beams or, something a little bit bigger, more fantastical in the MCU. So I'm looking forward to this. Last time we talked about Secret Invasion, we were hearing some rumors that there was like some production difficulties. So I'm just hoping all that got sorted out. At the very least, whoever cut the trailer did a good job. If it is indeed not up to snuff, they cut a fun trailer. So I'm looking forward to it. I love the shot at the beginning where Nick Fury comes down in a spaceship. But like the way the light is like wrapping around him, it just looks like a long, stretchy like alien. But then he walks out of the light. I was like, oh, that's clever. I like that.
Oh yeah. And then we saw a couple shots of Emilia Clarke and Olivia Colman. What people have always said, the MCU's got too much humor. I don't think there's going to be a lot of humor in this one, Mike. I think this is truly take the Nick Fury action scenes from the Winter Soldier and just extend it into a series, right, for 6 episodes. I think that's what this whole thing's going to be. Don Cheadle, though, I did not expect him returning from the series.
He seems to be like some sort of politician.
Yeah, well, he wasn't vice president, but he's doing something, right? It seems like the goal of the Skrulls is to take over the politicians, but like, is this really Don Cheadle, or is this Don Cheadle this version of Skrull because he's walking? Like,
that's going to be the question every episode, right? Who are we looking at? Are they real or not? Like, so there should be twists abound in this show, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I saw the only other person I saw was Everett Ross, right? Played by Martin Freeman, early on. But like, other than that, we didn't really see anybody else. So we're going to be on our toes this whole show about who is and who's what. And this show actually comes out 2023, the next one after She-Hulk for series. But then it's going to lead into the series Armor Wars. So we officially, quote unquote, re-announced, because they didn't do it at D23 or SDCC, right? So they've come back with this new logo for the Armor Wars, and it's going to be about Don Cheadle. He's going to be in the show and trying to get back some Tony Stark tech out in the world, right? And what does that mean when it's in the wrong hands? So,
the logo is the O in Armor Wars. It seems to be hinting at maybe some sort of arc reactor, maybe. At least that's the vibes that I get from it. So somebody out there is, I guess, maybe not making bootleg reactors, but what happened when Tony's not around to protect the tech that he made? That kind of seems like what they're angling for.
Yeah, we don't know if Riri Williams will be in this, but we do know, I wouldn't be surprised if Ironheart was in this as well. to help out. But Don Cheadle really stepping back into the MCU for us, even though he got his legs broken pretty bad in Civil War. So good for him. Daredevil, Born Again. Charlie Cox out there. They had Vincent D'Onofrio out there. They've said that this is not a season 4 of the Netflix show, but a new beginning at Marvel, hence the name Born Again. Double entry. They also showed off the logo, which is the classic Daredevil logo, Mike, the double D, with the red thing here. This is a great title card. I love it. It feels really good. And the production starts next year for this, so very, very excited to see these guys.
Yeah, they got a lot of episodes to make, man.
Yeah, it's like what? How many did we say? 18.
Yeah, I think that's what we.
Yeah. So it's gonna be great for that. But that's also going to tie into the show filming now. It might be done. Kia's Echo. We didn't get any trailer. They did show a trailer for the audiences. However, the Kingpin has been back, and he is shown off wearing an eye patch, Mike. So, what does that mean?
So, do you think she shot him in the eye?
I think he got shot. I think he might have got shot, Mike. So,
or there's lots of ways you can get an
pink
eye patch, but
a cat scratch.
I mean,
he's doing a Nick Fury.
I mean, if he's getting shot in the eye, he's going to need that Kingsman liquid goo bag that they put on the faces when he gets shot in the head.
Well, it's one of those things they are doing. One of the comics already did this where he got shot in both eyes, and he literally came back with like 2 eye patches on. His comic books, he might have superpowers in this version, right? He's bigger, bulkier, tankier than he was in the Netflix ones. Who knows? But it is good to hear Vincent D'Onofrio will be back. But I think we're both going to be proven wrong that he did get shot in the face. Maybe not as bad as we thought, but yeah, we'll see. Funny thing, I'm going to tell you this, and anyone who reaches out, I might be nice. A lot of these have leaked audios online of the trailers, not footage, but audios. So I was able to listen to a lot of these. It's very interesting to hear some of those. So does line up. Can't confirm. The Marvels. This is they showed some footage off. We didn't get to see it, sadly, because I'm very excited about this. We are. This is next summer, next June. But the footage shows Monica Rambeau, right, who is Spectrum, and Carol Danvers swapping places with Kamala. So anytime she was using her powers, she would swap places with them. So they have like some sort of power entanglement. So there will be some humor from this, some team-ups, even though they say not team-ups. Nick Fury is in this movie as well. Talking to Monica Rambeau early on in the trailer. There's a lot going on here. I'm very excited about this, Mike. To kind of see how they play with these 3 characters. Yes.
Sounds like hijinks will ensue.
Yeah. They did use a Beastie Boys Intergalactic as the song for the footage, though. So that's very, very fun.
I love that song.
Yeah. So hopefully some of that leaks. I want to see this one. This one is of everything that was out there that leaked. This is the one I want to watch the most. Is the Marvels. Captain America: New World Order. We got the announcement of the title this past summer at San Diego Comic-Con, now at D23. We have got some of the biggest news, I think, of the weekend for me. And that is the return of actor Tim Blake Nelson as the leader, who has not shown up since the end of The Incredible Hulk in 2008. So,
if these last couple of weeks have taught me anything, I need to go back and watch The Incredible Hulk. They've never made it so important and necessary.
Yeah.
Ever since What If kind of brought the characters kind of back into scope a little bit, I was like, this guy looks familiar. Like, I looked at his face. I was like, I've seen this actor before. I slightly remember, but I don't remember what he does or who he is.
Yeah. So, my question is, with Abomination, She-Hulk, the leader, is there some sort of, is the Hulk's blood, is this gamma radiation something that's going to get out and cause, the future of the MCU, right? Instead of the super soldier serum, it's Hulkifying everything. I don't know. But yes, Tim Blake Nelson played Mr. Blue in The Incredible Hulk. He was taking samples of Bruce's blood and trying to replicate it. Not maliciously, but just because he's a scientist, and then some of it dropped into his brain, into an open wound at the near end of that movie when Blonsky was out causing havoc. So the leader, if you look him up, that character in Marvel, he's green and has a very, very tall brain. he's very smart. So apparently he will be the main villain of this. Also from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Carl Lumbly will return as Isaiah Bradley, the I guess quote unquote the first Captain America, right? The African American one that they just kind of threw away.
Yeah.
And then Danny Ramirez will be back as the new Falcon. He's Sam's buddy who got him the suit back. In the show. So that's cool. They're bringing some of those characters in, and then actress Shira Haas will play the Israeli superheroine Sabra, who's also in the comics as well. So there seems to be maybe a more, global kind of thing if they're going to Israel a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's almost like you got to remind yourself, right, that this is going to be a film, and not Disney Plus. So it's like, oh yeah, they have to go big, big. So like, what is the threat? I'm not super familiar with Sam Wilson as Captain America in the comic books. I know it's relatively recent, right? So, we don't know exactly what his villains are really supposed to be. And if he has them from the comic books, they're obviously not iconic enough, right? As like Doctor Doom versus Fantastic Four. So it seems like it's really kind of like open season. They can kind of do whatever they want. So it's like, oh, let's kind of pull these people back from these older movies. We'll make a fun storyline.
It's all connected, man. That's what they've been telling us the whole time.
It's all there.
Right, but it's just really fun that all these, quote unquote loose ends from the Incredible Hulk, which Universal has had the distribution rights until possibly next year, are finally coming back into the fray, right, of all these characters. So it's just fun. Those are some deep cuts and really making that, like you said, that story relevant again. So, and also having someone whose special ability isn't, he's not strength. He's really smart and strategic, and like using brains to beat him is going to be interesting. For the Falcon, right? You can't just punch your way out of it. So, very excited to see what this. We'll report back to you guys what we find out. Moving on, the next to last Marvel news for this is the Thunderbolts, which is the last Phase 5 film, and they have officially revealed the team in some concept art from Andy Park himself, the man who draws the MCU before it comes to life. And we have Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Hannah John Kamen returning as Ghost from Ant-Man 2, David Harbour coming back as the Red Guardian, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, and Olga Kurylenko as the Taskmaster, Mike. And the Taskmaster, she first and foremost, Red Guardian has a new suit, and the Taskmaster has a new mask, which actually makes it more look like a skull than everybody else. But it's a very interesting team, and I'm going to say this for one reason. They all have the same powers. This is almost the same character over and over again.
Yeah, it's like, well, this is kind of what happens, right, when all of your more magically powered or, cosmically powered heroes are, off doing something else, right? You have, like, these street level, like, thugs getting ready to punch stuff either kind of super poweredly or not super poweredly. This cast kind of ladders up to a lot of, like, the, fan art that has been floating around for a while. I saw Red Hulk in those a lot. And I didn't see Bucky as much, so I'm always happy to see the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan. He's great.
Yeah.
And these last two things that we just talked about, Captain America: New World Order and Thunderbolts, I just want redemption, like I say all the time, for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just give me my characters back in a world with better writing and better story. So that's what I'm hoping I get out of these two.
Yeah, I think honestly you will. This is a very interesting team. We don't know who the villain is. We don't know what their mission is, if you will. I would say you brought this up. Ghost is not a character people remember a lot of from Ant-Man and the Wasp too, but she does seem to have the only abilities here, right? If you were talking about like not just being strong and a super soldier, if you will. She's got the, you can see in the art, she's kind of phasing a little bit there. So, I want to know what they're, like, they're not going up against a god or something, right, to take down somebody. Do you think any of these characters are expendable Yeah, I think the two middle ones are probably safe, right? Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan are pretty safe, but I think everybody else could be, on the outside looking in.
Yeah, it's hard to say because if I think of kind of back to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, if you have a character like Sam Wilson, he's on the up, he's on the rise. I feel like he's got a lot of story left in him, but like Bucky, he needs a new arc, he needs a new story, right? So if they don't fire one up, it just kind of seems like he's either gonna retire off into the sunset, right? Like go to the actual Tahiti. Or he's going to get offed in some sort of like heroic redemptive way. It seems like this film will rely extremely heavily on choreography and stunt coordination because it's the only way you're going to be able to tell their subsets apart, right? Aside from Ghost, who can phase through stuff, right?
Right.
So I think they will do a good job on that. This is exciting. I think we just need to know what their goal is, right? This is for all intents and purposes, since they were, late to the punch, everyone will just say like, oh, this is Marvel Suicide Squad. We're going to be hearing that everywhere until we actually see something.
And I would say, it's probably closer to the newer James Gunn Suicide Squad because of, they just said, what was that line John Cena did? He's like, I can do what you do, but better. I do the same thing you do, but better kind of thing. And that's kind of what this feels like a little bit. The only thing I could think of is maybe, the end of Civil War, there were those other Russian super soldiers, right, that were kind of left in those tanks that they killed. Maybe there's more of those. Are they taking on more super soldiers, right? Kind of one for one. Be kind of boring, kind of bland. But I'm very interested in what they're doing, and I think, as a cast of people, whether you like Ant-Man 2 or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, this is a great cast of actors together, right? David Harbour steals the scene every scene he's in. Florence Pugh's up and coming. Loved her in Hawkeye. Really stand out. So I think it's a great list of people to be in. So very, very excited. Real quick, Fantastic Four. No casting announcements, Mike. Womp, womp. All that stuff we talked about last week out the window. But they did confirm Matt Shakman, WandaVision, is the director of Fantastic Four. So we did get that part right. It's fine, right? I don't have nothing else for that. Really?
Yeah, I mean, we could kind of just maybe use this as just more of a brief moment to say, don't think the Marvel panel really lived up to the hype that we thought it was going to bring. Obviously, any new news is good news, and we love to talk about it, of course, but we had like these grand plans, right, of like, oh, they're finally going to fill out those missing spaces of our timeline. Man, Denzel's gonna walk out on the stage. It's gonna be wild. We might get to see like concept art of like Doctor Doom or something like that. And we just seems like they for lack of a better term, maybe blew most of the load in Comic-Con, right?
Yeah, well, we talked about, one of the things we talked about, like D23 is going to be more important than Comic-Con. Obviously not in terms of what they're doing, their time frame. D23 feels more like, hey, this is our progress on this stuff, but nothing new was jotted down for us.
But for context, if you were actually a person in the audience for either of these reveals, right? Because at Comic-Con, it was just strictly Marvel for like the whole 2 hours that you were in that room. All those announcements, people were going wild and out for all these Marvel announcements. All of the Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Avatar, Marvel stuff all happened in the same room at the same time as well. So if you're a person sitting in a chair watching it, it was still a great time for you. But when we're distilling the news, we're just like, okay, come on, Marvel.
Right.
We thought we were going to be getting maybe a little bit more here.
Well, I don't think it's a bad time. It's just there was other than Werewolf by Night getting an official release date, nothing else to the public was given, right? Other than a couple of things here and there, and it's not bad. It's just like we hyped ourselves up too high.
Do you think Werewolf by Night is supposed to be on that timeline, right? Do you think that's one of those empty slots, or is since this is kind of like a one-shot dealie, it's just kind of it's just like a bonus. This isn't really in the whole.
Yeah, I think it's a bonus. I don't think it's the full thing. Because we knew, even Ben Kingsley was cast in Wonder Man. We had no Wonder Man announcements either, kind of thing, right? So just nothing new was written down but that. But I don't think it's gonna be new. But let's talk about something else that did get new, because there was a Marvel Parks panel yesterday, right? Sunday. I believe afternoon my time, morning yours, and the next Marvel ride at Disney, the third Marvel attraction, will be the Avengers multiverse battle against King Thanos, which provided some really hella cool artwork for this.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I wasn't expecting a Disneyland ride to kind of show us the first look at Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night, which is like really wild because, you know, you can get quick glimpses, right, of those characters in the Werewolf by Night trailer.
And it's black and
I've
white.
only seen that trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I only seen that trailer once, but I do remember like a quick shot. But like this is the actual like, you know, concept art, you know, you could say, for what these characters are going to look like. And it's just funny that we get it in this ride. But man, there's so much to take out of this. And you could say like, oh, Mike, this is just a ride. You know, this isn't canon. This isn't going to be in the movies. But you don't do visual development work for a character for a ride that's going to be there for years and years and years to not have it match up to what you're about to put on the screen.
Well,
so it's heavily implied that this ride is going to kind of be in the little Avengers warehouse looking thing that the Quinjet sits on top of. We were told that we're going to be battling along all of these other heroes as we fight this alternative version of King Thanos, which looks badass. Like I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of like merch or statuette of this version of Thanos.
He is taken from the comic books. Just so you, King Thanos in this design is not a new creation, but it is the Josh Brolin version, so it's been adapted a little bit for that. So what I think is cool about this, looking at this concept art, you literally have everything. You have the what ifs, you have the upcoming animated Peter Parker, you have the live action, you have the Man-Thing. We have two different Hulks here, right? Going on. Daredevil is even at the he's the closest person to Thanos, right? They are going all in on their characters for this to have.
I can almost
to
imagine
include them all.
I can almost imagine like a quippy moment, right? Where like, oh, you know, we need more power. Well, what's better than one Hulk? It's two, and then somebody opens up some sort of portal, and you know, the Ragnarok Hulk, you know, drops down, because it looks like we have more of like a nerd Hulk here. You can see Bruce's face a little bit more on this one.
Well, I would say
the other one's a little bit more savage.
Yeah, if it's not that, it looks like Avengers 1 Hulk maybe, based on the ripped pants. And then the Gladiator Hulk, we have two Mjolnirs, one with Jane Foster, Thor, one with Captain America behind him. You know, it's just really fun to look at, and this feels like possibly maybe, Mike, a ride that gets updated yearly to include more characters as they're released, right? Like maybe it's a living ride to it.
Yeah, obviously they're strapped for space in all of these theme parks, especially here over in Southern California. But it looks like the pod that the people are in is a moving one. It doesn't seem to be necessarily like Star Tours based, something like where you're literally stationary with 3D glasses on. So hopefully this is a moving ride, because that's always more fun. If you're going like with, you know, screens and stuff like that, I also hope that they throw in like animatronics as well. That would be really, really rad. Might as well do some like, you know, armor, or so like Tony Stark, or, you know, whoever you want to put in armor. I'd love to see that in a physical model. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be I know the Cosmic Rewind ride includes a lot of screens and stuff that reacts where your ride is on the track. So I totally could possibly see it being very, very similar to that along the way.
Yeah.
So
Man-Thing looks cool. Like,
Man-Thing is
covered
cool.
in like rocks and mud and tree.
Oh yeah, he's essentially, for people who don't know, he's like Swamp Thing, but cooler. So
like Swamp Thing, but more like beastly.
Yeah, like he doesn't have like you don't think there's a person under there. I don't think there is a person. I think he's his own creature. So yeah,
even the Werewolf by Night, you know, Justin, Jake, whatever
Jack Russell.
Just Jack Russell.
Yeah.
Like the dog, like a Jack Russell
literally
Terrier,
his name is Jack Russell. It's like the dog.
That's got to be on purpose. But even that wolf design looks like vintage Werewolf, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see them add more characters into this, right? Like, hey, when Spectrum takes the point, when Blade comes into this kind of thing, and like they're just gonna keep updating the ride. Like everyone else is taking on King Thanos today. Who's got your ride?
Yeah.
So
now Chris definitely has to come out.
I do. I will do that. Check that out. So that's the end of the D23 news. I got 3 more things to jump through real fast, Mike. 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is now on Disney Plus in some countries. I know that this will probably be on Netflix for some, but like I did get some articles on Disney Plus Day. It did start hitting Disney Plus in other countries, including the UK. So this would be a great time for VPN sponsorship to tell us, hey, watch Into the Spider-Verse in other countries.
Yes, please.
Oh, well. On the other news, it's the exact opposite of this. It's that Morbius is now on Netflix. So if you're looking for some Morbin time, you can Netflix and Morb.
Too many people have Netflix, which means too many people are going to watch that movie. Yeah. But like I have said before, I will welcome a Morbius sequel if it's like straight to streaming, because then I'm already paying for the streaming service, so I can just watch it for free in my leisure. That would be so funny. Do that.
I would also do it if they lean into just make it goofy as hell. Like don't pretend Jared Leto is an amazing actor who's going to get like awards for this. Like lean into how goofy this is. So or maybe let Blade kill him. One of the two. So if you got Netflix, you can now watch Morbius and not pay for it like we did because we're a bunch of assholes. That also ties it back into that Sony contract we talked about. Every 2022 movie going straight to Netflix. So there you go. Lastly, we got a Black Adam trailer out of nowhere this week. It's upcoming movies right around the corner. It kind of gives, it's the same trailer as always. My son died for me. I don't want these powers. You can either destroy the world or whatever. Same thing. But there's 2 things here. One, we get the Justice Society of America. And it looks like a Blackbird jet comes out of an X-Men mansion, literally in this. Like, literally... If he's not flying like an Iron Man shot, it's doing the X-Men shot. So very, very similar to that. And lastly, Amanda Waller, I did not expect to be in this movie, is in this movie.
Who keeps putting her in charge of people? Like, did she do like such a good job with the Suicide Squad that she's been promoted to slightly less, criminally insane, superpowered people, it seems like. I mean, I didn't really know what this story was going to be necessarily. There's always synopsises that float out there, right? But it's like, oh, we want to go apprehend Black Adam. You build a containment unit and we'll put him in it type of thing. Obviously, we know the story is going to kind of devolve into like some sort of anti-hero type of situation. Lines from Pierce Brosnan / Dr. Fate saying like something along the lines of like, oh, of course you can be a good person. It's fate. That's reductive, but it was something like that. I just keep thinking like, isn't he supposed to be punching Shazam at some point in time? So the whole time I watch these trailers, I'm just like, how do we get him to Zachary Levi and punching him in the face?
Well,
so I'm always curious how that transition's going to work.
That'll be easy because they're both powered by Shazam. Like the lightning bolt, like they both have the same power source. Kind of thing. So that'll be, I think, easy. He wants to punch Superman is what The Rock wants to do. So how do they get, Henry Cavill back in to do this?
Well, we were hoping to see a Henry Cavill announcement this weekend. It did happen, so it sounds like he might still be a free agent ready to get punched in the face by The Rock.
New York Comic Con, right around the corner. We're a month away from it, Mike.
Maybe yeah, that's right. Maybe we'll see something there. Who knows?
Yep. But yeah, so Amanda Waller. We should call this the Amanda Waller verse instead of the Snyderverse because she's been in more stuff at this point. She's in
amazing actor. It's just like her character is so like intentionally unlikable. Like whenever I see her, like I'm always just like, ugh, I hate you, Amanda Waller.
Yeah, exactly. Because she was in both Suicide Squads and Peacemaker, and now this. So she's the third that's tying it all together. She's in all the good stuff, though. Two of those 3 things are pretty enjoyable. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for our D23 wrap-up episode. Mike, we're recording this on a Monday night to make up for making sure we got the whole show covered. But if people want to know what you're doing, what you're up to, where they can see all that fun stuff you were talking about sharing earlier, where can they see that at?
Yeah, they can find that at Mike Royer Design at Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I have a Be Real account, but I don't even know what it is, and I never use it. So I suppose I'm on Be Real as well. But you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, VALDAN, or Instagram, Valdan87, or check out Rad Retro Bros on Instagram or YouTube. We just did our first unboxing video. It's a little bit of a long one because we did like 5 different things, but it's really fun. So if you like retro games, check that out. If people know about the show, what we're doing, where they can come and listen to our next review, which I believe is Black Adam, Mike, where can they get all them goodies at?
Oh, head on over to superheroslate.com. That is where, if we hosted a convention, you could find the most pertinent information at superheroslate.com. Man, maybe one day. Who knows? Superheroslate.com, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to fine podcasts. We talked about a lot of stuff today, a lot of links to trailers, screenshots. Don't do yourself a disservice by trying to Google all this stuff. Just go to superheroslate.com, jump into our show notes, and we got it all there nice and organized for you. Thanks to Chris for that. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Please reach out. What was your favorite news over this weekend? What are you excited for? Are you bummed that you didn't get to hear something that you wanted to hear about? Let us know. We loved our super fans as well, so if you want to be a super fan of this show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.